right, I'll call this February 22nd, 2022 special board meeting to order. Please do the roll call. Kate, here. Gabe,
Here.
Jim,
Present.
Amy will be with us a little bit later. Clay, no. Deb,
Yes.
and Mr. Carr is absent with notice. All right, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. All right, I need a motion and a second for the approval of the agenda.
Second.
Gabe and Deb, and roll call, please. Kate? Yes. Gabe?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, items for discussion. It's the Academies and Pathways with John Carroll. All right.
All right. Okay. Yes.
Go ahead whenever
Go
you're
ahead.
ready. Yeah,
Okay.
it's fine.
I was waiting on Clay. Okay, good evening. I'm really excited to be here to be able to present the Rapid City Area Schools Academies and Pathways, because I strongly believe in this program and the profound impact it will have both on our students and our community. So let's just jump right into it. What is college and career ready? Really, the best way to describe this is graduating every student with a plan. We're just going to. And then what is the academy? Academy is just a small learning community. We have 6 academies as they're listed on there. And then on the right side, you'll see a hierarchy or a pyramid of how we're going to go through this academy. And inside academy is a pathway. It's just a way to learn and get involved in the 6 academies. So we'll start with the 9th grade freshman academy. That's the foundation of it. So all the incoming 8th graders coming into high school, they will learn more about the 6 Rapid City Area School academies. And we'll also help students acclimate into the transition of going into high school, and they'll gain knowledge of career skills. Then we go into the 10th grade, which is going to be Academy Introductory course. And then we have them listed here of the 6 introduction courses that they'll have. And they'll, like it says here, students will learn more about the careers offered in their chosen academies. The 11th grade is the Pathway Foundational course. The students will gain a better understanding of the various careers in their pathway. And this is also the time that students will begin to be able to elect for dual enrollment. This is very important for college students that are going out into the universities. They can begin to accumulate college credit. 1 or 2 students have gone in and got associate's degree out of high school, which is amazing. But the majority of them will get several of their freshman courses out of the way, which is thousands and thousands of dollars if you go to university. Okay. Here are some of all of our Pathway Foundational courses that you can look at your leisure, but it lists them per academy. These will be offered in 11th grade. Now, this is where I want to take just a second, more than a second, and describe our 12th grade Capstone program. This is where we take, we can even go back to the 11th grade. This is the cumularization of 3 years of academic and then bringing real world in. Capstone, we have a Capstone coordinator at each high school, and they're responsible for having the students and direct them in the right path. So we have a senior experience, we have job shadow, we have internship, and we have an apprenticeship program. Apprenticeship program, I'm going to talk about more of those in depth, but we found, Dr. Bruckner and I, my team, looked at the overall foundation of it, and we wanted to mirror what was being offered to the college-bound student as far as dual enrollment. So we wanted that other pathway, which would be either Western Go to Tech or just going into the workforce. We wanted something that mirrored a dual enrollment, and that is a journeyman status or apprenticeship. So you can start gaining your journeyman hours as a plumber, electrician, or that. Okay.
Yeah.
Where are we today? So in anything that any kind of program that you build up, especially the magnitude of academies and pathways, the theoretical, building that up, and then the implementation down on the ground. When you do something like that, there has to be some flexibility and course correction, because no matter what that program is, as you try to implement them in the real world, it's not going to be perfect. So that's where we're at today. We're in the implementation phase of year 2. We're going into year 3. So what we had to do is condense the academy model. We needed to strengthen the foundation of the academies. We had courses that we did not have teachers aligned to, of no fault of it. It's just society today. We're lacking teachers. COVID hit, name the plethora of obstacles that we had. So we began to look at the totality of the courses that we had and match them with the FTEs with the teachers to condense the academy model to one pathway within each academy. That way we streamline, we are more effective. We are going to grow that out to 2 pathways within each academy, and I'll talk about that later. We were lacking CTE staff. We are lacking CTE staff, and the way that we are combating that now is we're matching curriculum with the endorsements and certification that teachers have. And for example, Intro to Health, we had one teacher, Miss Simone Johnson, who was excellent. She was going back and forth from Stevens and Central High School. It's very difficult to do that. Time, energy, but she's doing a great job. We found a teacher that she has their credentials to teach that. She's just missing several courses. We are going to pay for those courses to be done where she can complete them and get her certifications, and now she'll be able to teach that course. So we're going to find those teachers that we already have and give them the credentials they need in order to teach that. And they become more marketable, they become more experienced, and then have a much more depth of educational experience. So it's a win-win for everyone. The other thing that we're facing today is inadequate CT facilities. Dr. Bruckner and I and my team have been going to across the state, actually. We went to Belfouche to look at their CT facility. We went to Harrisburg, beautiful facility. And the best one of the whole state is Sioux Falls. They have an incredible facility that facilitates, if I'm not wrong, 4 or 5 high schools, all CTE. That's all they house. It's a beautiful facility. They house, sorry?
So they have one for.
They have one building for,
like a separate high school?
it is. They have their own principal and their own staff. We had a great tour with the principal. He was very forthcoming. We had a great conversation about their program. They house 14 of the 16 career clusters. I think it was agriculture and police, and the police was time. It's just age. It just didn't work. But it was a fascinating place to be because it was spectacularly clean. It looked incredibly professional. It looked like a college. And I asked the principal, Joshua, and I said, Joshua, do you have any discipline issues coming from the other high schools like we all do? No, he said, I have none, because everyone comes here for a reason. They're here to learn because they chose this academy. And that's one of the themes that I want to make sure that I can impart on everyone, is that's the importance of the academies and pathways model, is we're going to give these students career exploration. We're going to pair them up into their God-given talents and abilities and let them flourish in there and have at least an idea of what they want to do when they come out of high school. But that is an issue that we have. We have inadequate facilities. We do not have inadequate business partners. We have a plethora of them. We have a community that's dying need of employees, right? That's obvious here in Rapid City. So when we have great partnerships through the trades, through the hospital, through all of our academy sponsorships, we have industry leaders that want to be a part of this. So it's not as if we have to go out and sell snow to Eskimos, right? we have a great product, and it's our students. And it's our job and our responsibility to have each graduating student have a plan as they go into the real world, be it college, be it the military, or be it into the workforce. These are the academy numbers. They're going to be, I think, a little bit off for this reason. If you look at Central High School, their construction technical trades, the first semester we didn't have that ability to offer that. So those numbers, I think, would be double. And then you have a different population at Stevens, whereas the health services are a big deal. And we didn't have the FTEs to fulfill that need. So I think both of those pieces of the pie would be increased. Okay. Where do we want to go? We want to develop two main pathways within each academy. That's going to be about 12 new courses, I'm going to guess. I'm going to educated guess 12, 13 courses. And we want to develop a robust capstone program. And we'll talk about that more as we go through these slides. There'll be two pathways per academy. You'll have a post secondary academy where a student plans to go 2 to 4 year degree. They're going to focus on AP classes and dual enrollment. And then we're going to advise the student as he or she goes into post-secondary education. The career path, the student plans to enter a workforce or start a career. We're going to focus on apprenticeship and internship programs. And we're going to provide mentorship and guidance through our capstone coordinators that are going to provide soft skills and also technical skills to be a valued employee. So when they come out of high school and they're ready to go in the workforce, everyone that I speak to, be it service industry, HR director at Monument, Skull Construction, everybody is, if they could have soft skills, I will teach them the technical side. I mean, you can't do that with a nurse, but for entry level, we'll teach them. We'll educate. We have programs that we'll put them through, but we need them to have the soft skills, showing up on time, responsibility, the ability to speak to individuals, to be able to articulate themselves on paper, that type of issues. Additional we want to develop additional CTE courses because we want to be self-sustainable. And this is what happened in the second year implementation. We were reliant very heavily on Western Dakota Tech. WDT, but no criticism on them, but they have their own bottom line. They have their own board they have to answer to. They have their own teacher shortage issue, course curriculum stuff. That being said, we did not get the full commitment from them, and we found ourselves in the position we didn't have enough teachers, we didn't have the curriculum. We do not want to, Rapid City area schools not want to be dependent on a third party to be on our success or failure. What we would like to do is to be able to have those 14, 15, 16 career clusters in one housing to be able to offer all of these plethora of courses and career exploration to our students, and then bring in WDT, School of Mines, or Black Hills State to accentuate what we have already in our CTE courses and not be dependent on them. When we do create the curriculum with our CTE curriculum courses, we want to focus on three things. We want to focus on student interest, what's going on in the industry, what they're demanding, because we don't want to educate kids on things that are phasing out. We want to, whatever the industry is asking. And then we want to match the teachers' credentials and certificates with the curriculum. So we're not building curriculum and we have no one to teach it. There's a teacher shortage. We're trying to find teachers to come in. We don't want to be in that position again. So that's three things. This is the capstone program. You can read this, but this is the 4 breakdown of what we want. And then I really want to talk about 2 paths and 2 very different lives. So right now we have about 1,000 students coming out of our high schools, graduating or timing out every year. Through our numbers, we see that 50% of them are going to go to a 2 and 4 year institution, 50%. Statistics show that anywhere from 20 to 25% to a third will get those 2 and 4 year degree. That's a big number. That's going to come. So you have 500 students that are going to go to 2 year or 4 year in June when they graduate. And then only about 150 are actually going to get that degree. So what happens to the other 350? And that's what I want to talk about on this pathway within that academy. So let's say I have an individual that has not gone through the academies and pathways program. They go, my mom and dad went to college, I have to go to college. Because I don't know anything else I want to do. They go to college, they're at San Diego State, for example. South Dakota State, for example. So they're in South Dakota State, sorry, I know, same thing, SDSU. So South Dakota State, they go in, they go through the 2 years, they get their general ed done. They're about $30,000 in debt. I don't know what I want to do. They go about another semester, they get another 8,000 to 10,000 in debt. So now they're around 40 and they drop out. That's the typical thing. So now they come back to Rapid City. They don't know what they want to do. They have $40,000 in debt and they're struggling. Okay. It's that same pathway. I have an individual that wants to be an electrical engineer. That she went through the Academies and Pathways program. She knew that she wanted to do this, but I want to just check it for sure. So she goes to Conrad Electrical and she works with their department. Electrical engineers don't just sit in the office and draw. They have to go to the work site in a day like today, freezing cold, but they love it. They love to be able to draw through architectural plans and then see the implementation. And they know it because we gave them a job shadow. We gave them an internship program. So now they take all the AP courses they need. They take dual enrollment. They got a year of college under their belt when they graduate, or they're close to. So they save themselves $20,000, $30,000. They end up going to the School of Mines, which is an incredible school in our backyard. And they graduate and they have a job and they know where they're going. And the reason why that person went that straight line is because we gave them that career exploration in the front end. So they gave that career exploration in the front end. And then that individual went through college and now they're productive citizen and they know what they wanted to do. Now you take the other 500 students that came out of, not going to go to 2-year or they're not going to go to a 4-year institution. Where are they?
Yeah.
Where are those 500? Every year they're coming out. I don't see them. I see restaurants closing they're condensing their work hours. Mr. Skull, who's Skull Construction is our sponsor for construction technical trades. He and I had a discussion the other day and I asked him, how many employees are you short to be in full employment? To be in full employment, he needs 100 employees. Can you imagine how much business that he and all the tradesmen have to turn down because they don't have the students, the employees to do that? So you take somebody that comes out of that does not come out and he flounders, or you take an individual that comes out that is an academy and pathways and then realize what they wanted to do. And let me give you I have the best example for this is I like to means test my theories and what I believe in. So I had a meeting with Dr. Ann Bowman, who's the president of WDT. And she asked me a question. She said, what do you think the profile of a freshman student at Western Dakota Tech is? I said, 18, 19-year-old guy coming in, want to get technical trade and start their life. No, it's a man that's 25 to 27 years old. He's married and has 2 children. Okay, so now it's 2 different pathways that I want you to really focus on academies and pathways. So I have a student that comes out and he's floundering. He's 25, 27 years old. So he's already gone through about 8 to 9 years of earning potential. He's going to Western Dakota Tech. He has 2 kids. He's working a job probably 50, 60 hours a week because he has to try to make ends meet in this economy and inflation. Then he's going to school for 20, 30 hours. Going to school, studying, taking tests, all that angst. That's hard, right? He's probably financially in straits. Now you take the other kid, the other student that came out because he came through academies and pathways and he wanted to be an electrician. And we got him an internship or apprenticeship and he loves it. I'm going to go to Western Dakota Tech right out of high school and I'm going to get my certification and I'm going to work because I've already started working out of Central High School and I have journeyman hours under my belt. And I want to go that way. You take that same kid, as Dr. Bowman said, and you thrust him into 27 years old. That man has a wife and 2 kids. He's probably bought his first house. He's got a brand new truck. And through statistics that I went through with Loyal Plumbing, he showed me on paper that student's going to have about $75,000 in cash in the bank.
Wow.
He's going to be a journeyman by then. He's going to have a 401k. He's going to have health insurance. The gentleman that it did not go through is not going to have health insurance, not going to have a 401k. So the kid that came through our academies and pathways figured out what he wanted to do and is now successful. He is about a decade to 2 decades ahead financially of that guy that did not do that route. Now, the question is, well, what if he doesn't want to be an electrician? And let's say he goes through and he's like, he gets bit by the electricity 2-3 times. Like, I don't want to do this. We find it as equally important to find out what you don't like than what you do like. It just narrows down life, right?
Yeah.
So now we become very streamlined in our focus. I don't want to do that, but I know I want to be in the trades. So I'll be a plumber. I could be a carpenter, a drywaller. Those professions are honorable. And in this economy now, that those are almost 6-figure jobs. And what is wrong with that? I don't see electricians going on unemployment here. They can work for probably the next 10 years straight without a day off. Same thing with Cole Construction, Conrad Electrical, Loyal Plumbing. And those are our partners that we want to get our students into, those apprenticeships and internships. So those are 2 vast and very impactful ways of people's lives. And I believe strongly that's what the Academies and Pathways is. It's a bold way to get into education and educate our students to go this route. They are going to have a plan. And if at the very minimum, they've tried 1 or 2 things out and they like it or they don't. And that just minimizes the totality of life and kind of narrows it down and says, okay, this trade or this academy, this segment of the economic society, I don't want to be in. This is what I really like. Computers, arts, construction, medical. We cover all that in our 6 academies. This is why it's so important. This is why I'm very passionate. My team's very passionate about this. We're looking at an academy model. We're going into the 3rd year implementation. We condensed, collapsed down that 3rd and 4th year because they kind of mirror each other. And we have a strong desire from our business partners to begin to help our students through the academies and pathways, through our internship, job shadows, and apprenticeships. The apprenticeships are going to be a much smaller number of our students, but we're working with the Department of Labor where students that go into our apprenticeship program will come out with the equal of associate's degree. So a student that goes in and wants to be a plumber and goes through our apprenticeship program, once we get it fully built, which we anticipate by the summer to be fully built out, have all the paperwork in and rolling, that student will come out with associate's degree and will have 2,000 hours towards journeyman accreditation. That's incredible. That's life-changing. Instead of coming out at 18 and 19 and not knowing. But now at least, I mean, I didn't know. I would go to college because that's my father. It was a law enforcement, and my mother ran a business, and this is just how life was for us. But I would have loved to have had career exploration, could narrow it down into college instead of wandering around a year or 2 to figure out what I wanted to do. That's why this is so important. And that's why my team, Dr. Bruckner and I, and our other team throughout the Capstone coordinators and the academy coordinators were so passionate about this, because this changes things. If I could take those 500 students that are not going to go to college or a 2-year technical school, and I got them, our goal is to get all 500, all 1,000 of these students going to college and having a plan. But let's just play by odds and say I only get half of those 500, 250 students every single year, ready to go out and work and be very productive and get in skilled labor. That is going to change the dynamic of Rapid City.
Yeah.
Restaurants aren't going to close. They have managers, service industries. The summertime when we have the influx of millions of tourists, those businesses are going to flourish, and businesses are going to come into Rapid City. And what is the first thing that a business does when they come in to do research? They look at how many employees, what's the availability of employees, and what are the schools like, because they're bringing in their top echelon of people and they need good schools to go to. We provide that. This is a win-win for our community. We provide our students and quote, get them ready to move into the workforce. And we have a workforce that is dying for that product, which is a student. Because why do we go to school? We go to school ultimately to have a good life and have a job and provide and have a family with children and provide a life ultimately. And this is what the Academies and Pathways offers. It not only does it help students into the future, but when you want to be in school and you want to learn because you are passionate about it and it aligns with your God-given talents and beliefs, you will go to school and you'll finish. And you will see graduation rates increase because of this as well. So I believe it is a win-win for the school district and for Rapid City as a community and a region. Lastly, is the 24 and 22 credits that are needed for graduation. And this breaks it down for you. The only thing that changes from 24 to 22 is you are not taking 2 credits of electives. Now, it needs to be said that you can take up to 32 hours, so you can take as many as you want. But if the student that doesn't want to take it doesn't have to for the 22. That student at 22 credit requirement can take up to 10 other classes, and the 24 credit requirement, a student can take up to 8 more additional elective credits if they choose. Are there any questions?
I've got a couple, but I'll take a look at anybody that's got their hand raised first. If anybody on Zoom has any. Go ahead, Amy.
Yes, thank you for this great presentation. Can you put the graduation slide back up? Yeah, thanks. And then I just had is the National American University campus, I don't know if Kumar's on here with us, is it still available for purchase or was it?
I saw that, yes, ma'am. Someone within the district sent it to me, not jokingly, but said, hey, there's your CT facility. And it was asking 11.3 million and they dropped it to 9.9 million right now. So I'm sure there's very, very limited groups, companies that would want to purchase that facility, but they're asking 9.9 million right now.
And then so you've given us this presentation, you've told us where we're lacking, we're lacking staff and we're lacking facilities. So in general, to get every academy to have the 2 pathways and move forward successfully, I mean, what do you need from the board, from the community? What's the minimum requirement in the next 2 to 5 years to make sure it's running adequately?
Well, I would think in the next 2 to 3 years that we're going to have to build out curriculum for 12 courses. We'll need further FTEs. However, I believe that I think we have an incredible staff of teachers that can be cross-designated or get the certifications and accreditations that we can fulfill quite a few of those. But I'm anticipating as our academies and pathways grows that we will need further FTEs.
Yeah.
And I do not have that exact number for you, but that's what we need. As we grow, we're already busting at the seams at the CT facilities that we have. Director of Facilities Kumar did a walkthrough with me. We are actively making temporary fixes so that we can stay there for another year or 2 or 3. For example, there needs to be a better intake of air and exhaust of air in central woodworking and welding shop. That's just a example off the top of my head. And the other issue is just space, right? Let's take, for example, Rapid City, Sioux Falls CT facility. So you go through their facility and then you go on the outside and they have this, it's a hangar. It's built for airplanes. So it's a hangar. If you can imagine, I want to say it had to be 150 by 100. or maybe it was, 150 by 100. Then you had huge doors that fanned open, like just like if you had sliding glass doors. So they were building 2 houses within that building. And then they would open the door and they roll them out onto 18-wheeler and they take it to a community. And what that does, which is incredible, and we walked through there, Dr. Bruckner will testify to this. There, we asked this gentleman, said, how many teachers do you, he goes, no, it's just me. And it was just him because he was bringing through, and he had one assistant that wasn't a teacher, it was like a teacher's aide. And they would have, so they could have eyes on the students. But they were building like beautiful homes. Like I would buy that home. It was 1,800 square feet. Was it 2.5, 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, the garage, a fireplace, everything you can imagine. But so you had electrical, you had plumbing, you had carpentry, you had tiling, you had everything that you're going to do to build a house that was built within their curriculum.
Wow.
So you're teaching students that would not normally progress through math, now are using math in order to build a house. So now that the teacher is able to do math and geometry and construction, I mean, just because you have to have the right angles, you have to, the weight bearing, load bearing, all of that stuff is taught within this one building that they're building. And then they go sell it. They can find a plot of land, they sell it, and they use that money for all the materials. Again, they become self-sufficient. And that's what the principal in Sioux Falls was saying. We have a media, we do all the media here for the superintendent and all the principals that need, and all the HR stuff we do here is a state-of-the-art facility that they did. Across the hall was their culinary arts, but the culinary arts would partner with the business academy, and then they would sell, they created a coffee stand and a bakery. So they became self-sufficient. But now they're teaching the students how to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
What's the cost? It's just not making coffee. Coffee seems like it's, I just go to Starbucks. No, there's a whole business model behind that sustains it and makes it to be able to get profit and sustainability and to employ people. So it was amazing for us to go and see that, and see what Dr. Simon brought in Academies and Pathways was bold. It was new. It was outside the box thinking, but it's been working in other districts across the nation. And it's common sense. That's why it works. It's just, it's student interest. And we're giving students hope. What about a student that just is not doing well in school? And he's just going to go through algebra and history, and he's like, what am I doing? But if I tie it to something that's one of these career clusters, and he gets hooked or she gets hooked, then they're going to come every day, because I'm not going to miss that class. We're doing electrical light sockets today. There's no way I'm missing that. I need to know that. And that's what Academies and Pathways does.
Jim, go ahead.
Mr. Carroll, thank you very much. Today, this is extremely interesting, and I always seem to use examples of what you're saying. But I have my first brief question is the 22 credits. Is that state law or is it 24?
22 is the state law.
Okay, thank you.
24.
Yep, thank you. So everything you said was spot on. And my example is my youngest son. He hated school. Now, he ended up getting the right teacher, and that right teacher changed a lot of school for him, and he graduated, and then he joined the military.
Yes.
So since then, he has been communicating with friends of his, some that went to college and are floundering because they just went to college because that's what was expected of them, even though they have no direction. Then he's got friends that did not go to college and that are floundering because they didn't know what they wanted to do. Then he has a couple of friends that went into the trade schools and already have part-time jobs in the career fields that they want to because of the shortage. So I'm really impressed with this, and I hope we can continue to push it. And I do have one thing to throw out.
Yes, sir.
I know that you have, and you're acquiring sponsors, you're getting partners in this. If this gets developed, because you do have my support with this, if this gets developed, we have the Air Force Base right next door. Are
Yes.
you in communications with the leadership of Ellsworth in reference to getting those, what did you call them, ride along type job
You-
shadows?
Yeah, you'd be a job shadow. You can have an
Yep.
internship or apprenticeship. I mean, no, sir. The answer to that is no, but
Okay.
I'm my
How-
Dr. Bruckner is the greatest note taker you ever seen, and she will
Well,
have 10 pages of notes for me, and I
yeah.
will be on it.
My,
But I do see that could be a partner. I mean, we're looking at top of the line mechanical engineering going on there. So
Yep.
why wouldn't you have that? And
well, Ellsworth has the base itself, the military personnel, the airmen, airwomen, there's so many job shadows that could open doors. You know, like my son, he signed up for 6 years. He said, at the end of 6 years, I'm gonna be 25 years old. Then what? He's got the hardest part of insurance and lack of job time on board, seniority, all of those things knocked out because he spent 6 years in the service. If he wants to go, he's already got a foothold. So that's kind of where I was looking at with the base, is actually seeing what we can do to have job shadows on the base to get these kids, so that the ones that are the in between, but they would love to do something like that.
well, I think, and you're correct in that this is how I envision this happening is, and I'm already starting to see it, is we get one or two partners, and this is a small town, and it's a very connected business, right? So they see one or two or three people on they're on their workforce or on their job site. First thing you're gonna ask is, who are those people? Well, they're Rapid City Area School. This student is from Central, and this one's Stevens, and they're doing apprenticeship or internship. Then I'm gonna get a phone call, which I got. I want some of that, right? What do I gotta do? And every partner every individual of a company that has reached out to me, and they said, can you please tell me about what you're doing? And I give them my quick elevator speech about what Academy's pathways are, apprenticeship and internship. And there has not been one, I'm telling you, not one that says, I am in and I'll do anything that you want. Just tell me what it is you need. So my point being is, we have partners already, and we have them waiting that don't know that they're partners yet.
Yeah.
It's not as if I'm not going out there today and it's freezing selling popsicles. I'm not. I got blankets and great jackets. Everybody wants it because it's freezing. Same thing. I got employers, and they want employees, and they want them skilled. They want them to have the soft skills. And it is our job as a school district to have those students ready upon graduation to know what they want to do. And again, if it is college, then great. Then here's our AP courses. Here's our dual credit. Go into college with a plan. Don't waste $150,000 and come out with some general degree that you don't care about. Go in there and come out. If you have debt, that's fine, but you have a plan of what you wanted to do, and you're entering the workforce out of college. You're not coming out of college with $100,000 in debt, angry and disillusioned and having no prospects. No one wants that, but it's our job to do that, and we are on our way. I'm very excited about this. We're so close, and it's just time has to pass, right, to get there. But we are on the path to success.
Well, thank you,
One of the
Miss-
attendees, sorry, Jim, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thank you, and thank you for allowing me to speak, President Thomas. I'm done.
Yes. So one of the attendees happens to be Fran Appland, who's the school liaison from Ellsworth. That might be one place to start with.
Great.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see that.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I'm sure she's got it. Are there any other questions before I circle from board members here? Before I circle back around to Amy? Go ahead, Clay.
Yeah, I guess not so much a question, but thank you for the presentation. I love it. I love the overall mission, I think, of Pathways from the first time I've heard it. you know, one of the key things I thought about it at first, and I like that you hit on, was people figuring out what they don't want to do.
Yeah.
I think that's more important of knowing
is
what you want to do,
sometimes.
because at that age,
Yeah.
who knows what they want to do. So funny thing on the internet said, you know, we're expecting 17 and 18-year-olds to gamble $100,000 on something that they might want to do.
Might, maybe.
Might, I mean, you know, it's life, you know, it's to have them more well-equipped to make that choice. Nobody's gonna get it right 100% of the time, but you know, at least they're better prepared. The thing I like most about what I heard from you today is your passion on this, sir. And that's what it's gonna take for this to succeed. And, you know, having a staff that's passionate about it. So I'm very glad to see that. So
Good.
thank you.
No, you're welcome. Thank you.
Go ahead, Gabe.
JJ, thank you. Great presentation. What do you foresee? Number one, how soon do you think this could go into effect? Meaning like, or how soon? And do you have any idea right now on what you think it's going to take?
What, this is a bold idea that Dr. Simon brought in, and I applaud her for it, because change is difficult, right? And people don't like it, but this was a common sense move that did it, and I see it working, and I see where it's going to go. There is 12 courses that we're going to have to build out, and I think there'll be more if we got the facilities. I think, and then that's a funding issue, right? So that's in my perfect world, I would love to see something like Sioux Falls has. And that's going to cost money. Now, here's where my real pitch is. And Dr. Bruckner and I talk about this. 100% of the students are going to go through this program. We're going to touch 100% of the students. So if you're going to touch 100% of the students, and we're all in, and you're going to be all in, you got to be all in, right? Then we need the facilities for it. We're going to need the teachers, the FTE, and the budget. We're going to have to figure out a way. I don't know the budget costs right now. I'm not the expert on that. But if you want to do that, if we want to touch 100% of the students, and we want 100% of our students, as I said in the first slide, to come out with a plan, then we're going to need a facility to do that. If you can imagine, it's not a stretch imagination. I got 1,000 students here graduating. I got employers sitting there waiting for them. I have no way to get them packaged, if you will, for a cruder term, package the student for this, because my facilities are inadequate. And it's not a knock against Rapids Area School. I'm just stating the obvious, and everyone would say that. When you go to look at Sioux Falls or Belle-Fourche or Harrisburg, there is a problem. And I see that as the obstacles that we'll have is funding a facility and having the teachers to teach it. Now, I could be wrong on this, but I'm very passionate about this aspect of, well, we're not going to get the teachers. I will tell you, after Dr. Simon and the board funds and creates South Middle School, I will guarantee you will not have an FTE shortage at South Middle School, will you? I don't think you will. I think everyone's going to want to work there. I got I have a brand new office. I got brand new furniture. I got a break room that works, AC and heating, microwaves new. Everyone's going to want to be a part of that because it's new and it's success, right? If you have a brand new CT facility, that's the Taj Mahal of the West River, everyone's going to want to do that. They want to be a part of a winner. That's built in our DNA as Americans. We want to be a part of something that's great. So I don't see the FTE thing being an issue. But it is a facilities, it's a funding issue. It's like everything else that's going on within Rapid City Area School District. It's funding. But I can see it. I don't think it's a pipe dream. I think this is real. I think this is a natural progression that we're going to have to come to. Do you want to be successful? It's like I tell my 10-year-old son as we drive around. He asks me about why things are taxed and why things are costing, because everything costs something, son. If you want to be successful, it's either going to be your time, talent, or treasure. It's going to be those three things. Nothing is for free. You're going to have to pay somewhere down in those three revenue avenues. You're going to have to do that. And sometimes it does take tax dollars to move forward. And again, I'm touching 100% of the students. Our goal is to have everyone come out of high school ready for the workforce, be it post-secondary or in the workforce actually. So if you want to touch those 100%, then you're going to have to, there's going to have to be a reckoning where we get to the point where this is what we want to do. Because it really comes down to, isn't life amazing how it just comes down to, you got one, you go right or left. It really is that simple, right? Life is about common sense and making strong decisions and choices. And if we're going to touch 100% of the students and get them ready for life, then you're going to have to put them through a facility and have the right teachers and curriculum for that. And that's going to cost money. There's no way around that. And I believe that Rapid City is at crossroads, both as a city and for employees and to keep businesses open. We have a new battery business coming out here. They need 1,500 employees. There's going to be more and more businesses coming. As I talk to a lot of the city council members, and I talk to businessmen, they're coming. They're not going to stop. They're coming to South Dakota for freedom and opportunity. That's why I came. And they're going to demand, those businesses are going to demand employees that have soft skills and technical skills.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why myself and Dr. Bruckner and our team are so passionate and excited about it is because in life, it's rare that everyone wins. Everyone's going to win on this. Nobody's getting the short end of the stick. That's the greatest part of this.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying, oh, you're wasting money. Everyone's going to win. The economic situation in Rapid City is going to flourish. The students are going to come out ready to work. I mean, again, I go back to Dr. Bowman's comparison. I mean, I can't imagine being 18 years old and I'm making $25 to $40 an hour. I'm starting out in this business now, in the trades, and then be 28 years old with a brand new house. My wife's happy. She's got a brand new car. My kids are thrilled. We're going on vacations. And I got tens of thousands of dollars in savings. It's incredible. Loyal Plumbing, you should go maybe stop by there. He has his own apprenticeship broke out in there. He has his own facility within his facility. And he sat down with me and he showed me, he did the same thing as Dr. Bowman, but he did it financially and showed me. He goes, once they're done in 4 years, they have $75,000 in their bank account, because we walk through the financial aspect of the job in life and we funnel money to the side.
Wow.
And that's how much they have. How many kids are coming out of college with $75,000 in their pocket? And the answer is zero, right?
Yeah.
Zero. So this is a profound impact in our society here in Rapid City, because the other districts that are doing this are flourishing in this.
Yeah.
They're churning out. I mean, all the classes at that high school, it's at Sioux Falls, packed. Same thing at Belfouche. Belfouche has 5,500 residents in their city. And they have a CT facility. They have incredible welding. It's insane. I watched the teacher talk to me. My question was, I watched 15 guys with blow torches welding and no one was there. And I said to him, sir, is that your class? He goes, yeah, don't worry about it. All those kids are ready to go work right now in their field. I said, well, how much are they going to make? Oh, they're going to make minimum $25 an hour, start out. It's like, holy cow, it's great. And then the great thing of life is, and I think this needs to be articulated, because I had discussions with people that their children go into a different field, as we all have, is if you have a foundation of success and you go through life, if I want to be an electrical engineer and I go through it and maybe I just say, I don't want to do this anymore, but I have such an incredible foundation of education and success, I can do anything I want, anything you want. And that's the beauty of this. It's not that the kid that's going through is going to be a plumber. There's nothing wrong with that. My father-in-law is a plumber. He's a millionaire 10 times over because he's a hard worker and became a general contractor. That's my point. You can be a plumber, that's an incredible job. Plumbing's never going to run out. No one's going to say, I don't need a plumber. And then he could go and he can create his own business where he could become a contractor. He could build houses. He could be a millionaire 10 times over. He can do anything he wants because he has a foundation for success. And this is a foundation for success. We can either continue to do the same thing over and over again and be shocked at the outcome is the same, or we can try something different. And we're trying something different. and we're almost at the full implementation. That's the exciting part. Once we get all of our partners and all of the processes lined out, and we can start funneling our students into these internships and apprenticeships and job shadows, we're gonna win. And then everyone wins.
Amy, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I have a couple of questions. When the district strategic plan was formed 5 years ago, this was the vision of career and college readiness. This program that allowed different pathways for students to really realize their own potential and to find a successful interaction with education that allowed them to have the potential to be stable in the community, to have an income, to have a skill, to have a career, to be able to support their family. So this has been a building experience. And as we were learning about the actual academy and pathway model, we were also doing a facilities study. And so some of the facility needs that you're talking about were included in the bond that the school board asked the community for in 2020. And then in phase 2 of the facility plan, there was more need for addressing the academies program and what the facilities were going to need to look like for that to be successful. So from what I'm hearing from you, when we first visualized this a couple of years ago, we thought we could house it within the 2 high schools and partner with WDT. But at this point, the partnership with WDT is not maturing, and maybe they are not able to address our students' needs. So what I'm hearing is we need to focus a little bit more on the facilities that allow us to teach these CTE classes. Are you visualizing a 3rd high school like in Sioux Falls, but the programs would also be in the other 2 high schools, or will the academies be mixed between the high schools and you'd have to attend the high school that your academy belonged to?
Well, the way that we, on the long drive home through the plains from Sioux Falls to Rapid City, this is all we talked about. Well, how would this look? Let's, because if you're going to make something happen, you have to visualize it and you have to go through the steps of it. So how would this look? So preliminarily, right, we would probably house the freshman academies in the high schools and then bring sophomores, juniors, and seniors to that facility. If we were able to have a facility. You're asking me my theoretical. This is what I'm saying. If we had, let's just say, just for example, the North American University, let's just say we had it. You're gonna have transportation issues. You're gonna have scheduling, but I think those are things that are just hammered out amongst the administration and the principals and the teachers, how that would work. I don't think that's a hang up at all.
So it seems like you need a task force to visualize the second step of implementation of this program. And we see the vision for the outcome, and we've gotten to the point where we've established the needed academies and the needed pathways. And we have the freshman academy and maybe some of the sophomore classes. And now those students are moving into their junior year. Are we going to be able to continue their selected pathways for them? Or are we running into facilities issues at the sophomore and junior year? It seems like we need a task force to really visualize it, write it down, and it's to see how it works within the 2 high schools, the 3 high school model that we have now.
Go ahead and answer the best you can, but I think Dr. Simon has her hand up too.
Yes,
So
I'd rather defer to Dr. Simon.
okay, go
She
ahead,
would
Dr.
ask the
Simon.
question.
Thank you, President Thomas. Yes, I just wanted to weigh in with a few things. You know, when we did a bunch of tours of academy and pathway models, we saw situations like Sioux Falls that has a special facility that the other high school students attended. And then we saw models like Nashville and other places where all students within a comprehensive high school were part of an academy model. And so if there's interest in changing direction and philosophy there, I would agree that there needs to be a task force. I would also add, though, while it would be ideal to have state-of-the-art, beautiful facilities, I don't know that it's an absolute requirement. Certainly, as we visited models, we saw academy models being very successful in comprehensive high schools like the two that we have. And so I do think at some point there needs to be a philosophical discussion about, is this a comprehensive high school model? Is this a model where those students go to another facility? I mean, those are very different programs, and I would caution so early in the development of the model to move in that direction. Thirdly, I just think we're all aware that we have very, very significant facility challenges and needs. And so, you know, at the end of the day, the board and future boards are going to have to figure out how to move forward in addressing, all of the facility needs related to school specific needs, to the academy model, et cetera. I do think that the idea of a task force, I don't think it should happen this year. I really think it needs to probably wait until we're another year or so along in implementation of the model before a task force is developed that to maybe take a look at such a comprehensive change as having just a specific CTE facility.
Thank you, Dr. Simon. Clay?
Hey,
Go
can
ahead.
I follow
Oh.
up on my questions?
Sure.
I think that what Dr. Simon is saying has some validity, because if you build a third high school that's just a CTE high school, you're really focusing only on those few thousand students. I mean, and what are you doing with the other 1,000 students that continue to attend the other two high schools? And they need the same opportunities, even if they're going to attend and they know they're going to attend a 4-year college. These CTE the pathways to obtain 3 consecutive CTE credits also help them to understand the degrees that they are pursuing. If somebody's been through the health pathway and they've decided that medical school isn't what they want to do, or nursing school is not what they want to do, then they have also saved maybe more than $100,000 in their investment gamble. So I think we have a comprehensive program happening right now. I do not think the facilities within each of the high schools are adequate for the needs of the employers. So we're sending them through inadequate facilities to get skills that are needed outside of high school. They're not able to develop those skills with what we have now. So I think some more discussion and a task force needs to be established, maybe towards the end of next year, but to look at the entire facility needs in the district and also these, the pathway program.
I would just quick comment that, when we think of doing this, maybe a task force, maybe you're already kind of prepared. I would ask, have you been able to have your principals of your 3 high schools even in to have this discussion? Because I know some of them have some ideas about this. And so if for anything, if not at least talking with you, that they be first and foremost on the task force, because they know their buildings really well and they know what they can offer and what they can't as far as what is being needed for
Yes, ma'am.
these.
We did a walkthrough, myself and Director of Facilities did a walkthrough to see what the temporary fixes could be. And we found several, and we're working on that diligently to make that happen. And just for clarification, and I'm not saying we have to do this, I'm just saying for clarification, that high school that we're talking about at Sioux Falls is not a separate high school. It's,
Okay.
and it will touch 100% of the students, not just 1,000 or 2,000, 100% of them would have to go through. So, and there's also talk of having facilities on campus that are there already. So I'm just bringing this to you because you asked, and I've been diligent in going to outside the district just to see, because I want to be informed and say what I think is going to work and what would not, because I'd hate to lead anybody down a road that I didn't physically go and inspect and speak to people. So I'm fully informed.
No. Go ahead, Clay.
Thank you, Madam President.
Is that me?
Oh.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I definitely think, need to be strategic on, how we're going to grow this program, and looking at all options. Definitely need input of our professionals that are going to be managing it. One thing I'd say in the future, when you say, this is going to cost money, but I think we need to call it what it is, an investment.
It is an
And I think
investment.
that gets more,
Yes,
that's
I
going to
agree
help
with
us
that.
get more support of that.
No, I think that's a great.
So just a little thought I had there.
No.
And other thing I wanted to talk on earlier, which I didn't, which I'm glad to see in this, is the emphasis on the soft skills. My employer, a number of years ago, invested some money into bringing that to help.
Yeah.
Not only our current employees, but employees that we bring in, just as saw as a need that was lacking. I don't know where that our society got away from that, but it did.
Yes.
And I'm really glad to see that. I think that was, it's a very important part of being an adult, if you will, that, lost attention, and I'm glad to see that being brought back into our schools.
Our Capstone coordinators, 3 of them, in all high schools are, I don't know if you ever want to go sit in a class, and it's very wide ranging of students, and they're excellent. They're just excellent at what they do, and have the patience and the intellect to be able to sit down and articulate why we're doing certain things, and this is why it's needed in the workforce. They're great. All 3 of them are wonderful.
Amy, did you still have your hand up, or was it a no
Yeah.
question?
I do still have my hand up.
Okay.
I have some more questions. I think it would be worthwhile to organize a board visit to each high school to learn about what they're doing with their CTE courses at each high school. I don't know if we can all go together or if we can go in pairs or groups of us. But I think it would be nice to tour and talk to the teachers and see what's going on in the classroom. So I think that's an excellent suggestion. Then this is part of our strategic plan. It was a large part of our focus, in addition to reading proficiently by 3rd grade. We spent a lot of time in the last 3 years focusing on developing academies and pathways. And so this year, as we're reviewing our strategic plan, I think this presentation is very timely in that review, because you're at the point where you need to make another step forward, but you may not have the resources to invest in that step forward, is what I'm getting. So it would be nice to outline what those resources are to make it completely successful within the next couple of years. And I know that takes a discussion with maybe all of the leadership in the school district, including the principals at the high schools. But I think the board needs to see something like that. What do you need? This is a list of what you need to fulfill your vision, and exactly how we can get there. And that would piggytail on the new 5-year strategic plan. So I guess as a board member, I would ask for that to happen and to be brought back so that the board can understand what you need to be truly successful. And then I just have a clarifying question on the graduation requirements. Are you
Yes.
proposing to decrease our graduation requirements to 22 or to offer both pathways?
That is not in my purview to make that decision. This slide is just to show that it is 24 now, and then the state requirement is 22, and to let you physically see the difference and why.
And there are 3 diploma paths. So are both of these credit requirement paths within those 3?
I don't know if I heard the question. The 24 credit requirement is now. The 22 is not.
But there's also like a basic diploma that the state offers. And then there's, yes, Dr. Simon, can you clarify that for me?
Yeah, please, Dr. Simon.
So I think you're talking about the different, like the baseline diploma, et cetera, that students can get. And perhaps Director Seals can speak more directly to that. But so basically the 22 credit requirement would be your base diploma. You can get those other diplomas by taking AP classes, et cetera. So it's looking within the coursework itself where those other distinctions are earned. I'm not sure if it's necessarily as a result of additional credits themselves.
Okay, so I know when we were talking about these graduation requirements and moving them to 24, part of that discussion was that our high school seniors a lot of times got to their senior year and they only had to take 2 credits. So they were not enrolled full-time in their senior year. And so there was a lot of discussion that went into moving to 24 credits. Are we not allowing students to graduate with less than 24 credits with a Rapid City Area Schools diploma?
So Amy, currently, the juniors and seniors are still under the old 22 credit requirement.
Right.
The 24 credit requirement would not apply until this year's sophomores are the first graduating class under that 24 credit requirement. But yes, one of the conversations that we did have with the board in moving to 24 credits required was to not only raise expectations, but then as seniors require that students at least took a half load so that we were getting half of an FTE for those students, because what is currently happening within still the juniors and seniors, if they front load all of their credits, then we're getting very little FTE, and that's impacting our state aid every fall because we're only getting maybe a quarter FTE for those students.
So even though they're still in their senior year, as far as their age group, they're not having to take classes in the 22 credit requirement. It seems like within the 24 credit requirement, we get more students enrolled, so we have more FTE and more state aid, but it seems like there's room within there to do the capstone projects, to do the internships and the apprenticeships for credit. Is that how the Pathways and Academies program is set up?
I'm not sure I'm clear on your question, but because that's a matter of scheduling, but certainly as part of the 24 credit requirement, we do have our 3.5 academy credits built into that. But as you see on the screen before you, it is doable also under a 22 credit requirement. It just means that there would be less required electives, but that doesn't prohibit students from taking almost as many electives as they want to.
Okay.
Because students over 4 years can take 32 credits.
Right. So what you're proposing here to a certain degree, I mean, I don't know if you're proposing it, but you're proposing to move back to the 22, but that doesn't mean students couldn't take up to 32.
That's correct. And I think when we bring this back, we definitely need to have some principals show us what that looks like for their students in their own buildings. That was part of what talking to some principals myself, we're talking about, that it's not we shouldn't be making it a necessary thing that they take for electives in order to graduate, because maybe they take the 2.5 that they would have to, and they're ready to get out, but they don't have their 24 requirement, credits, and they can walk away from high school only having the 22 with everything that they need. So when we bring this back, I definitely want to have some input from some principals on that.
I would agree with you, Kate. We definitely need input from principals.
Okay, Gabe, go ahead. You don't want to? Okay. Any other questions or comments from board members? I keep looking to my right and there's nobody there.
Kate, when you bring this back, what is coming back to us? Because this is just a study session. What action is being requested from us because of this study session?
Actually, you were the one that mentioned it as it comes back, as we talk further down the road about possibly having a task force, et cetera. That's where I would imagine that gets brought back.
Yeah. I don't know. I would like to see it studied. I don't know when the right time is. We're doing the strategic plan review right now. If this is something that the community likes and wants to move forward with, then, with the new superintendent coming in the future, this should stay intact versus being changed because of a new vision. So if this vision belongs to our community, this should be part of what we're hiring a new superintendent to do for us. And then it sounds like maybe towards the end of the year, maybe sooner next year, it needs to have a task force.
Okay. Go ahead, Deb.
So basically, then we're gonna wait and.
Microphone, a little bit closer.
So what we're asking him to do is wait a whole year to even move forward on any of this? Is that what we're saying, or no?
No, he was asked to present to us what he's been working on and what he's looking at, and give us the idea of how he's been talking to Kumar about facilities, so it sounds like they're working behind the scenes anyway for maybe something to bring forward. I mean, if it turns out that North American College goes down another couple million, maybe Kumar says, hey guys, we need to jump on this, or
Well, there's other buildings. There's Shopko, there's the Albertsons building, there's huge buildings all over Rapid
true.
that we could maybe pick up for really cheap. So just.
That's why I suggested that there needs to be a larger task force, because it seems like there are needs, whether we move forward with an individual building, or we move forward with the 3 comprehensive high schools that we have now housing some of these academies. We need to understand how we can move forward. And Deb, I don't know that we should wait. This is, our leadership. This is something that we want to see happen. Our community wants to see happen. I think it needs to be a consideration as we're looking at our new superintendent. That
Go
they
ahead, doctors. Oh,
have
sorry.
an ability to push this forward.
Dr. Simon, go ahead.
Thank you. I wasn't quite clear on what Deb was asking. I mean, the academy model is already being implemented, and so tonight was an update. This year, so last year, of course, was the first year we had freshman seminar. As that class moved up to the sophomores of this year, they are the first class to take the academy classes. I recently wrote to the board about some visits that I saw in both of those courses and levels. And things are going quite well in terms of the facility piece, because there potentially could be a really deep philosophical change there. I do think it would be prudent to slow down, let the new superintendent get in place, get into the next year of implementation when this year's sophomores become next year's juniors and are the first to go into that more specific pathway course before launching a task force. And to Amy's point, I think there does need to be a bigger discussion about the facilities themselves and what the priorities are.
Deb, did you want to follow up?
The only thing I was gonna ask JJ,
Yes, ma'am.
so our partners, the people that are like Loyal Plumbing and Skull and all these
Yes,
other
ma'am.
places, are they expecting us to do this in a time frame or?
No, ma'am.
No,
They,
okay.
they're just ready
Okay,
to help in any way. That's every tradesman company that I see and Midco, like I'm looking at all the academy sponsors, Elevate, Monument, Rama. They're all ready. Just when you're ready for us, we're ready for you. So, and that's a great position to be in. It is a great opportunity. And like Dr. Simon said, we are implementing, we're going to that third year, and it's a big step, right? So we're going into the pathway foundational courses, and then we'll be in, then we collapse down and we're doing all the capstone programs on top of that. So this is a great year for, it's exciting what's happening, and growth is going to occur. And we're going to, as we grow and as we grow in curriculum, the FTEs, that'll be an issue, but we're working on that. So we're going to grow and grow the academies and pathways in a very effective way. And we had to, as like I said, as you do the implementation, it's never perfect. It's great because it is expected that it's not going to be perfect. So you pull back a little bit, you see where the redundancies and ineffectiveness is, and you rip that out of it, and you make your foundation stronger and you build. And that's what we're doing. And we're excited about every part of it, to be honest with you, because we see the success that it's already having. And once it's fully implemented and the partnerships are all cemented, I think it's going to be something we should all be very proud of looking back.
Yeah. Go ahead, Amy, one more thing, or?
I just have one more comment. Mr. Carroll has presented this to us in a great way, very concise, very clear, and I think helps us to see the vision of it. My worry is that we wait too long to support the development of it. So we need to be very cautious and concerned about what the program needs to be successful, and plan enough in advance so that when the students move through the program, this junior and the senior year part of the program is well planned out. We have enough staff, and we have the facilities, or the intern facilities, or we have some fixes so that it can be successful and not paused because we don't have enough staff, or we don't have the lab equipment, or the community partners organized to address what the capstone projects are going to need, or what the junior year classes are going to need. So I'm grateful that you put this together and that you're on top of that and trying to figure out what the second half of development and implementation is going to need. So thank you.
Any other comments? I would just piggyback on Clay's, your passion for this means you're invested in it, and we can see that. So moving forward, getting that list of things that you need from us is the first start, I think, to this. And Amy's right, we wouldn't want to wait too long, but we also don't want to see this collapse in on itself because we're not being proactive. So,
Absolutely.
and this was a very concise, very well done presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other from any board members? Doesn't look like anybody's hands up. All right, we do not have the necessary people for the executive session that was planned, so we are going to move on to adjournment. I need a roll call, a motion. A motion. Gabe and Deb. Oh, Deb said it first. All right, roll call.
Kate,
Yes.
Gabe,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
motion passes 6-0.
All right, we're done.